Hello everyone, thank you and welcome to today's episode of The Black Entrepreneur, brought to you by the Black Entrepreneur Ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario. I'm excited that you've decided to join us today to learn from the experiences, the knowledge and the insights that entrepreneurs share on this show. My name is Patrick Ebunonu. I'm the chair of the board of directors for the Black Entrepreneur Ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario, and I'm also the president and chief AI officer for Informanos Analytics and Artificial Intelligence. Today on the show, I have one of the most creative individuals I've ever met in my life. Please join me as I welcome Temitope Salu, the CEO of Wakey Whacks.
Wow. Thank you. I'm very flattered, actually. I think that's one of the most flattering ways anyone has described me, because you have lived quite a while and met quite some people, and if I happen to be one of the most creative you've met, then
well, I both had the opportunity to work with you and to work with you and your husband at the same time, and I know he's not on this show, but I know that the two of you, I see you as power couple in this region, and you guys are very, very creative.
Thank
Again,
you so much.
I cannot thank you enough for taking time to join us on today's episode of The Black Entrepreneur.
The pleasure is all mine. I think it's such an incredible concept. I was sharing with someone as well that we need to tell our own stories, and it's not always the negative stories that have to make the news. There are Black entrepreneurs who are making it and making it well and making it work, and everyone can be in that ecosystem that the Black entrepreneur ecosystem you and everyone here is trying to build. So it is my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. No, thank you very much. Now, I also know that you're a woman of many hats, and before I get into my questions, because I want to know, how do you balance everything? You have so many hats. You also have a family. You have a young family. Your husband is also very creative, and he's a global phenomenon in my own eyes. But before we get into those insights, can you tell us about yourself? Who is Temitope Salu? Where are you from? What is Wakey Whacks all about? What do you do? And what drives you? What's your passion? What are you trying to achieve?
Wow. A lot of questions in one, but I'll try and put it together. My name is Temitope Salu. I am a versatile person, if I put it that way, and I've come to know it, own it, and love it. I have an educational background in accounting, because
Wow.
I love analytical and calculations. The challenge of math used to excite me. But I have a professional background in film, entertainment, and printing and branding. And I'm sure you're like, how do the two connect?
Yeah.
Well, they do kind of connect.
Okay.
So I was working in the accounting field.
Wow.
But the challenge of math didn't really excite me again in the workplace, because 2 + 2 would always equal 4. I wanted something more dynamic, like you said, creative, something that will change or transition from day to day, work on different types of projects and all of that. I've always had an innate desire for the arts, for filming, scripting. I do voiceovers and all of that. So I thought to pursue that professionally, and so I left my very good, well-paying job in one of the top 5 best countries to work in the world.
Wow.
I'm like, yay, I'm going for my passion. And then nobody told me that when you're going for your passion, you have to have a buffer somewhere. So I fell face first on the floor, and I was broke. But being there face flat on the floor, there was nowhere else to go but to get up and move. So some occurrences happened that propelled me into taking that my passion and turning it into a way of making money, as well as impacting lives. And it was in one of those instances that the idea for Wakey Whacks came up. It honestly just started from that passion of impacting lives and making people happy. You spoke a lot about my husband. He's actually a very incredible person. Don't tell him I said that, please. Yeah, he is. And the idea really stemmed from him. So I remember it was about the 8th of February, thereabouts, a couple of years ago, about 6-7 years ago. We had just had a fight at home. Yes, couples fight. Yes, we're not perfect. And normal nature, I was like, all around the house, don't talk to me, just You know, so it was like that silent treatment. I guess my husband just thought, how can I make it up to this woman or something? And so he drew me a really nice cartoon illustration that kind of said he was sorry, sort of, because he knows I like cartoons. Like I said, I love the creative arts. I love, you know, those expressions of art and creativity. So he drew me the cartoon, and it doesn't take much to get me to go, oh, that's so cute. So I tried not to act like I loved it, but I did. I'm like, oh, this is so cute. And he said, oh, Valentine's Day is coming. What if we just, you know, kind of did something like this? So he just did a quick scribble. He draws. He's an artist. So he just did a quick scribble, and then we were all using BlackBerry, and then he posted it on his BlackBerry status update, and people saw it and they said, oh, they liked it, and he said, oh, if you want, and then he asked him, like, what can we do for Valentine's? I'm like, he was like, okay, we can ask people if they want it, right, for their loved ones. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So we just put it up. Do you want one? Just send. And a couple of people were sending messages and they said they liked it. I'm like, it's like, when we monetize this thing, or let's try and, you know, let's see. I mean, people love it. It's really nice. Literally, we're so excited. And, you know, we're drawing it and sending it to people. I put it up as well. My contacts said they wanted. And it was becoming a lot of, what if we say, okay, maybe we're charging 100 naira? That was equivalent of what? Approximately 1 cent now. And people jumped at it and said they would be willing to pay. What if we charge 500 naira? People said, oh, they don't mind paying. They just wanted something really nice and different for Valentine's Day. Wow. And then, so we're like, okay, fine. And the next thing we're like, is there a way to print this thing on substrates? Add the value add. Now, there's the idea, there's the execution, but how do we create that value add? How do we add that extra oomph to it? So, okay, what if we print it on stuff? But there was one problem. We didn't have a printer. Until we searched online and we found, so that's one of my strengths, research, you know, and all of that. We found a print on demand, sort of. It wasn't really print on demand. They just do the regular print on mugs and all. I mean, could you print this kind of design, this kind of stuff? So they haven't done it before, but they could try. Wow. So we upped and went there, and they did a sample, which was, we had already even put it up and said, oh, we could do this on mugs. Does anybody want? And they said they did. There was literally no profit on it. Then we were just excited to do it. Like, okay, do people like this? And yeah, they jumped on it. And people said, oh, they wanted, so we printed it. And the joy, I remember delivering the very first one. I delivered it to the person herself, and she was absolutely elated. The joy on her face, I'm like, I would love to see this joy replicated over and over and over and over. And that's how it started. Wow. We just started to market it without any marketing. Just then, social media, the algorithm was a lot easier. Just put it out there, spread with the word of mouth as well. Every time we delivered it, please tell someone about it. And the products really just sold themselves. So a lot of people would reach out. I saw this mug with this person. We started with just one product offering. And now, many years down the line, we've got over 40, you know, products in our catalog and counting.
Wow, amazing, amazing. I want to build on what you just shared. But before I build on it, I want to set some context. And so you started the business in Nigeria, and then you moved to Canada.
Yes.
And you're studying, but you're also running a company in Nigeria, and now you're kind of getting clients here, and so you're almost running a company with headquarters or with a branch in Nigeria and a branch in Canada.
Yes.
What are some obstacles you've faced managing, you know, almost two versions of the same company in two different, distinct parts of the world? What are some obstacles you faced, you know, and how have you overcome, or how are you overcoming those obstacles?
So the obstacles have been quite a bit. It was it was a shocker at first. It was something I'd written down. I said I want Wakey Whacks to be a multinational. And when the opportunity came to start it here, you know, I just started it. It didn't even occur to me. It wasn't until one day when I was going through my book where I write things down, and I saw that one of my prayer points had been that Wakey Whacks would be in Canada, US, and Dubai. And I'm like, we're in Canada? Oh my gosh, right? This has actually come to, wow. I'm actually a multinational, you know? So yeah, that was there. It happened. And it wasn't like, oh, I had kind of structured it. It happened, the opportunity presented itself to do something for somebody, and I grabbed it with both hands. And the person loved it and referred me to someone else, and and that's just how it started. But I also still had to be managing work in Nigeria. One of the things that I would say that has helped me the most is an incredible team. An incredible team, an incredible support system. I have people that I manage that I am comfortable. They have understood the requirement of the business, that excellence is non-negotiable. They have understood how I work and the work culture, basically. I've kind of, imbibed that in them. So everyone is on the same line. Another thing is we had standard operating procedures. So that if anyone comes in right now, there's a document that details how this is done and what is done. It's constantly evolving because things are changing as well. So yes, we've got that. And one of the major challenges was the time difference, because there were some orders that we have a customer care person who attends to orders, but sometimes there's some HNIs that I would want to kind of handle as well. First of all, to set that tone and let them know that, okay, sometimes they feel good when they know that the owner of the business is the one handling their business, and then before I hand them over. So that challenge of time difference, having to do that was one on that side, managing it in Nigeria. Here also studying and doing doing a business here is a whole lot. But I have innate project management skills in me, so you'd ordinarily see me with my to-do list, prioritizing. I have to do this, I have to do this. Do I do it perfectly? No, some things do suffer. I'm not going to mince words about that, but I have a great support system. My husband helps here as well, and the work, like I said, the standard operating procedure just make things a lot easier. We know what step this person is working on, this step. I work with people remotely as well. They know to turn on, we have an iterative process. The person turns in their work, this other person, does his part, turns in this part, and then this other person knows the end work. So sometimes I just manage. I'm not yes, and then maybe I troubleshoot as well. Delegation is a big part of it. It helps people grow, and that's one thing I've learned to do as well. Delegate and keep my fingers crossed that things don't go wrong, but I also have a contingency cost in case things go wrong. But people learn from that, but we just need to make sure that those risks are not too much.
Wow, that's amazing. That's very amazing, and thank you for sharing the things that you're sharing. I think about again at the Black Entrepreneur Ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario. Part of our goal is to see more Black entrepreneurs grow and thrive, and we've come across folks who are from other parts of the world, and perhaps they used to run businesses or they used to be entrepreneurs, and they come here and perhaps out of fear or out of there's something that makes them to hide their gift in a bottle, hide that entrepreneurial gift in a bottle, but you have come here and you've allowed that entrepreneurial light to keep shining here where you are. And so when I think about what you're doing, I wonder, were there resources in Southeastern Ontario, in Kingston, that you were able to tap into that enabled you to continue? I mean, you were studying, but also continue to spread your wings from an entrepreneurial perspective. And what were those resources?
Thank you so much for mentioning that. It was something I was also going to say. I was going to say, yeah, because I was thinking more of the operational aspect. But like I said, I did have the idea to start here, but then the idea was on paper, and on paper were also costs associated with it. And I tried to marry the two and thought, okay, in so months, I should be able to have saved up this amount to allow me get this machine and all of this. And then one day I was sitting at my system and I got an email from, the Black Entrepreneur ecosystem here. There's an incredible business hub that just provides resources. And one of those resources is information. Now it's left for you to act on that information. And I saw this information that said, oh, there's a grant available for this. These are the requirements, apply, it's first. And I was like, what? I have all these requirements. I had been proactive before I knew I wanted to start a business, so I had registered the business first. I was like, even if no money comes in, I'll file my taxes for zero and all. And one of the requirements was that registration. And what was this? It was a grant of $10,000. That's a lot of money. That is a lot. I was like, oh my gosh, the things I could do with this money. And then I quickly put in the application, and I got the grant. And then shortly afterwards, again, this same ecosystem, you know, this same community that I belong to, it was someone else just dropped it in a group and said, there's another grant available, you know, for $500. And I'm like, okay, this is good money too. I mean, for someone who didn't have anything. And I quickly put in my application for that as well. And I got it. So the ecosystem, the entrepreneur ecosystem, the community, the business landscape here is so empowering. I've met people, not just the money now, the network, people who have offered advice, people who have offered information, like I said, people who have inspired me without even saying a word. I'm sitting across one of them right now. The things that he has done is absolutely phenomenal. I'm not going to say his name. He's wearing glasses, he's wearing a brown shirt. Yeah, you know, but when you engage with when you engage with people like that who are brilliant minded, who have created things out of nothing, it also shows you that you can do this. So I say that the kind of people that you surround yourself with are so important. So the network, the network which has then translated into, you know, financial resources, mentorship. There are programs that are always ongoing that help entrepreneurs. I look forward to attending a whole lot more of them because half of the time I'm in school. But yeah, it has provided resources beyond my imagination. And it has shown me that here, and by here I mean in Canada, it's a level ground. How high you fly, how far you go is largely dependent on you.
You know what, it's good to hear that. And you know, you keep referring to the support system, and you know, and again, that's part of, you know, one of our vision and goals as the Black entrepreneur ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario, is that we want to build an ecosystem. We want our communities to be very welcoming. We want, when people are thinking about where should I go to launch a business or to scale a business as a Black entrepreneur, they are thinking about Southeastern Ontario. They're thinking about Bellevue, Brockville, Kingston, Cornwall, Napanee. They're thinking that, hey, there's a support system there, that if I go there, I'll be fully supported. So it's great to hear that from you. A follow-up question is around, again, there are people like yourself, you know, who, again, two categories. One, folks who are new to Canada like yourself, who used to be entrepreneur, you know, or folks who are not brand new to Canada, but who are thinking about starting their own business or doing something. What advice would you give to them?
It can be challenging, but it's also very fulfilling. What I would say is find a way to connect yourself to the Southeastern community, because I think the best way to put it is I feel seen here. Right? But even if you're not here in Southeastern or anything, first thing I would say is find that community. Find that community, because from that community you will draw energy. You will see there are people here that inspired me. I tell some of them every time. One of them is Cynthia Igbonono. She's, you know, she's the COO, CFO, everything of Infomanas.
I wonder who she is.
I really wonder who she is as well. Another person is Tommy, Blossom African Foods. When I found out that this was just her first anniversary, she had just been running for 1 year, I was mind blown. You know, and I make it a note to tell her every time that you inspire me. What you're doing is incredible. She's, you know, she's a homemaker. So again, who are you looking at? What are you looking at? What are they telling you? Is it possible? Is it not possible? What do you believe? Because in those times of difficulty that will come, it is the strength, the anchor that you hold on to that would really, you know, hold you strong. For me, it's God. My husband is one as well. Sometimes my husband doesn't even know, but he'll just listen to me. I'll say the problem and I'll prefer the solution myself. He's just listening sometimes. Sometimes he just reorientates and say, so again, who's your sounding board? Who are the mentors that you have? Who are you willing to speak to about, your businesses and all that? And then research. Again, sometimes we have high and lofty ideas that may not be, they may not work out in the way that we're thinking they should work, because I don't believe any idea is useless. It just needs to be put in the right way. But so again, do your research, talk to people, otherwise if it's not working out, then it becomes frustrating, and when you're frustrated, everything just becomes a mess, and then you're like, how did I find myself here? I'm never going to do this again. So before you just take the full plunge, research, talk to people, check out people who've been doing this before, and above all, believe in yourself. Imposter syndrome is a thing. It's a thing, and it can hold you down. Just believe in yourself. Believe that you can do it. Look at your past victories. I remember the things that will lead you ahead. Sometimes I'm thinking, oh gosh, should I just pause this thing for now? Should I just stop? But I remember where I'm coming from. Sometimes I remember the feedback I've gotten from people, and I'm just like, you can do this. You will do this. And every time it's like, God just hears me, and everything just starts to work together, and all of that. And also, when you're scaling, invest in the team. Invest in the team. You can't do everything yourself. It gets to a point where you can't do everything yourself. When I started, I was HR. I was the one doing the actual. I would print. I would produce, and I still gathered that knowledge. But after a while, I knew that this wasn't scalable. This wasn't sustainable. Invest in your team. Value people. Honor people. It will all come back to you, and it would work out great. Maybe I should write a book at this point. I feel like I feel like I have so much to do.
Yes.
And also make sure your books are in order. Because one day somebody might just want to buy out your business. Make sure your books are in order, and pray.
Wow.
Very important.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. The last question I have, oh my goodness, I could spend all day asking you questions. If you could go back into the past, if you could transport yourself and talk to the high school Temitope or the undergraduate Temitope, what advice would you give to your younger self?
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. So many, there's one. I know my answers always seem drawn out. I have a love-hate relationship with this Gen Z idea, because I feel it kind of empowers them to be like a bicycle, and sometimes they don't put in their best, but the audacity that they have, oh Lord. Sometimes I wish I had gone for my dreams more without holding back. Don't hold back. Just do it. What's the worst that will happen? What's the worst? Someone will say no. What's the worst that will happen? Someone will do. What's honestly the worst that could happen? Don't be too self-conscious. Don't hold yourself back. Most often than not, we're the ones that hold ourselves back. And what's that force? It says inertia. If something is pushing you from inside, no external force can stop it. So just push yourself. Do it. Go for it. Take it. Whatever it is. Grab that apple off the table. Say hi to that person. What's the worst that could? I think that would just be my mantra. Just anytime you want, just think, what's the worst that could happen? Just go for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great place to bring today's episode to an end. Just do it. Thank you very much, Temitope Salu, CEO of Wakey Whacks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join us on today's episode.
Thank you so much.
For sharing your journey, your wisdom, your knowledge, your insights. And I really hope, and I have a strong feeling that what you've shared will inspire someone, or it's inspiring someone to continue to move forward, push forward, and to go for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Excellent. I've really enjoyed talking. And time has flown, but I've really enjoyed speaking with you. And yeah, it's been a fantastic experience.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And our listeners and viewers, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of The Black Entrepreneur, brought to you by the Black Entrepreneur Ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario. I'd like to say a big thank you to the board of directors of BISO at the Black Entrepreneur Ecosystem, Southeastern Ontario. I also want to thank all our volunteers. I want to say a big thank you to the director of this show, Moinga, Salu, and also to Damola and to all the folks that have sponsored and played a significant role in helping us to bring this show to a reality. I really hope that you can join us for our next episode. Until then, go for it, just do it, and
what's the worst that can happen?
what's the worst that can happen? Bye for now.